always want to make wise spending decisions, guys, because you got to think about at the end of the day, guys, how the kingdom works, how the Father in heaven works. The Father in heaven never give you what you ask for, but what you can manage, what you can handle. He's not gonna just throw $1 million in your hand. He's gonna see how you manage that $100. He's gonna see how you manage the $1,000. He's gonna see how you manage that um, $10,000. He's gonna see how you manage those things. The Father in heaven is gonna observe you and see how you spend your money with less before He give you anything of wealth and riches. You want to see how you manage less first. You want to see how you're going to spend that little money you have. Is you going to buy dumb stuff with it? Or is you going to use it to buy some equipment to spread the gospel? Or are you going to take some of that money to, put into something that you can give the Father in heaven glory for? Like something that can, you can spread the word through. It can be through art, sports. You can make content. Whatever idea you may have. The Father in heaven wants to see how you put your 10% up. He knows the 100% is His. All of it is His. But do you decide to put 10% up for the Father in heaven purposes? That's wise spending right there. Once you do things like that, once you always think about the Father in heaven every time you get some money for His works, and you always spend your money wisely, you discipline. Because managing money, you have to be disciplined. That's what I have to learn. I remember I used to spend my money on stupid stuff. I wasn't thinking about no business at first, or put no money, as I say, put some money up to even start a business. Why? Because if I couldn't, wasn't disciplined. I wasn't disciplined. When I got the money, I just spent it all up. I wasn't a saver. When the Father in heaven told me I needed discipline, that's when I became better with managing money. Discipline became the key of one of the keys to life, to managing a business, money, a lot of things. Once you got discipline, you can manage anything. It changes your life once you do that. You will definitely discipline will dictate your spending decisions. Not just your spending decisions, but life choices as well. It would dictate that. Whether, okay, when you drive down the freeway, all exits are good. But is it the right exit? That's the key. And you need discipline to determine that. If it doesn't match up what you're going through, if you're not spending your money on on something that's going to take you to where you're trying to go in life, there's no point of wasting your money on it. And we got a spending problem in America. We need to control our spending. If it's not nothing that's going to benefit, the Father in heaven and our families, why do we really need it? Some of these things, guys, we really don't even need it, but we still buy it anyways. And you got to think about it. Some starving kid in Africa somewhere ain't got nothing, but we spending our money on stupid stuff. So that's just something to come in mind, guys. When you get the money, don't just quit to be just spending it up. Come up with a plan. Next time you get your paycheck, I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do. You do what you want to do. If you want to go spend your money on strippers and throwing it in the club, popping bottles with models, you can go right on ahead and do that. I'm not trying to tell nobody what to do, how to live their life. You want to go give your money away to a crackhead, go ahead and do it. A drug dealer, go ahead and do it. So, this is for people that want to better themselves. You know, learn discipline, learn how to spend wisely. And manage it. And that's the key to managing money. Because if you don't manage your money, how can you ever get ahead in life? You can't. You're gonna be always stuck on the hamster wheel, running around in circles, trying to blaming everybody for your poor choices of life. Blaming everybody, you ain't got this, you ain't got that. Nobody don't care about that. Blame all you want, no one cares. It's up to you to put that 10% up. No one else cares, you know? And, the choice is yours. And, guys, that's just something to think about. If you ever want to get far in life, you know, learn how to spend wisely. Tell people. People, I know you got people like this that you know. Every time you get some money, if they know you got some money, they always want to call you to go out. Sometimes you got to tell people, hey, you might have to tell your significant other, hey, we ain't got no money for that. Sometimes you want to tell people, hey, friends and family, hey, I ain't got no money to go out right now. I ain't got no money to go to Cabo right now. Because I got to save this money and put 10% of it to what the Father in heaven want me to do, some of his purposes. Or I'm trying to start a business. I can't spend no money right now. That's for starting a business. And then the 10%, you ain't got a little bit because they be expecting you. Come on, man, it's only this amount of money. No, nothing. That 10%, it got goes on my purpose. So it's like that, huh? Yeah, it's like that, man. And if they understand, if they care, they should understand. Is what I'm trying to say. You're gonna get a few friends. I'm telling you, start telling people you ain't got it. You'll start seeing who your real family members, who your kids is, and who love you and who don't love you. Start telling people when they start asking you for stuff. Oh, I ain't got it, man. I'm going through this, that. I'm trying to save to get a business. I got to put 10% for the Father in heaven. So I can't spend a little bit right now. When I get my stuff together, I'll think about it. When I get a bonus or if I get a tip or something, I will think about it. Spending, going out, spending out, but the thing about it, some people expect for you to pick up the whole tab. That got to be cut off too. They draining you to death because you're nice. Your friends, they always come. This is the third time they came to the restaurant. They ain't even got all the money for their meal. Why is you ordering this and you don't even have the money for it? Why? Because they expect for you to pick it up because you're nice. That's why. They got the money to pay for that whole meal. They just don't want to spend a whole $50. They want you to put 25 on a meal, but they come out with $10. They gotta end, guys. All that niceness, that nice stuff, being nice keep you broke. Being nice keeps you at the bottom of people's souls. Being nice makes you a carpet, doormat. There is nothing, you don't benefit from being nice. You don't benefit from proving things to people. Tell them, yeah, straight up. They ask you, straight up, you want to go out for drinks? I got 10% put towards Father in heaven purposes. What you think I'm going? You're going out for drinking with you, and I can buy my own drink. Some wine is only $10. I can just buy that instead of me going out spending and buying all these bottles for people that don't even care about me. They probably don't even love me. Well, I'm doing that for. If they get mad about it, hey, they're not really your friends. They're not really your family members. Tell Pookie, hey, and hey, I ain't got it. And they always begging, calling your phone. Hey, I ain't got it. Tell them I ain't got it. And you'll see who love you and who don't love you.